Welcome back to the Grand Solar Minimum channel. Today is Monday, October 7th, 2017. Take a look at our space weather. Right now, our solar wind speeds are sitting at 401.4 kilometers per second with a density of 3.6. Our days of spotless without sunspots are now at 4 in a row, as we still do not have a sunspot on our star. We do have a bright active region, but that has been downgraded to a non-spot. That's now 202 days in 2019 without sunspots. Our TCI is sitting at 4.49, and our KP indice is at a 1 with a 24-hour max also at a 1. And let's take a closer look at the SDO in motion. You see the coronal hole that is just below the bright region that you see. If you look to the southwest corner of that, you'll see a minor coronal hole that is forming, and this is expected to graze the southern part of Earth's magnetic field. So right now we are not expecting any kind of geomagnetic activity with this particular coronal hole, but we will feel the effects. I believe October 11th is when they expect to see the effects from that particular coronal hole. So let's do a quick look at our weather before I let you guys go. And right now, all along the Tennessee Valley, Kentucky, West Virginia, Ohio, Pennsylvania, New York, all the way through the entire Northeast is experiencing heavy rain showers right now as we speak. Now, the surprising part is that there is no flood watches. There is a small corner here in Arkansas and parts of Oklahoma, also northern states like Wisconsin, Iowa, also looking at a flood advisory. But right now, guys, nothing as far as floods to expect. This is just going to be a quick mover. Heavy downpours are possible with these showers, but right now we are not looking at any watches or advisories that are to be of concern. Severe weather today, severe weather today also is going to be very minor, if any at all. Now, we got some strong storms that were happening at sunrise in Mississippi, Alabama, now heading into Georgia. But those yet have produced anything that is severe at this point. All right, let's take a look in the tropics. In the Atlantic, we have a disturbance. A couple of them actually to talk about. This one right here is got about a 40% chance of development. And let's do this a little bit here. Get a better look at this. Yes. Yeah, we're talking, a 50% chance in the next 5 days and a 40% chance of development in the next 48 hours. So those are pretty high chances, to be honest with you. And just in case if any of you are wondering, the pack of rhinos in the background is actually just a puppy and a kitten, but it sounds like a pack of rhinos, so I do apologize for that. Dogs and kittens, let me tell you. Anyway, so this storm is going to be something that we're going to watch. I know I made a comment the other night how everything looks pretty quiet, and technically hurricane season is over November 30th. Wow. But this storm right here is a bit of an interest as well. And there is another area that we're watching that has a 0% chance of formation in the next 48 hours, but in the next 5 days, well, that could be a different story. And let's take a look at temperatures now. So if you look at this map, these areas of development are actually in waters that would carry a weak storm. Now, those temperatures are cooling as we speak. So it's going to be interesting to see if we actually see hurricane activity from these areas of interest. Now, we saw a model run a couple of nights on our broadcast where I would say there's a better chance of a nor'easter in mid-October, late October than there is a hurricane, just due to the fact that temperatures are about to really cool off here mid-month, and then some. They're already beginning to, but really after mid-month, we're going to see a difference as well. Let's take a look and see what the tropics thinks. And there's that, if you guys look over here, there's this the area that has a chance over the next 3 days. That's what they're thinking right now on this particular system. There's a high pressure system that's pretty much steering this thing out. But look at how it kind of stalls out as well. So in one sense, earlier we showed you guys a crazy looking storm by the end of this week that was going to inundate the East Coast, Philly, DC, Jersey. Now this storm is tracked further east, and it is nowhere near land like we thought it was going to be. So that's the good thing. But right behind it, by the end of this week, we've got a really gnarly system moving through the northern plains. And let me tell you guys, this is classic January, February setup. And this low pressure off to the East Coast could very well be a possibility of maybe a first year nor'easter, the way this movement is. And if we move the models forward, this low strengthens. Meanwhile, that particular storm that we were talking about that could turn into a nor'easter, if you look, it's still right here along the East Coast. So this thing moves over to the east. Now we have this storm raking the coast like we originally saw. All right, this development right here, if it continues to further develop here and shoots up the coast. But cold air behind it. Now, look at this storm right behind it, too. I mean, this thing gets intense. This is a classic early winter storm, folks. And then it really gets going. Minnesota, talk about some very heavy snow. And then it kind of just fizzles out by the weekend. And high pressure is trying to dominate the weather systems here in the United States, keeps us dry for a little while. Massive low pressure system coming in the northwest. And then we watch the Gulf. Lots of moisture forming in the Gulf and off the coast of the Atlantic. So if it's possible that this is the second storm, this one right here, well, let's watch its motion, because I don't think it's going to, again, GFS doesn't think it's going to affect the United States, but it's going to be close into the same region as this possible nor'easter, which I think is a better chance of happening. Now, we shift our attentions to the Gulf. Now, guys, this is still 13 days away. But this is, to me, the GFS is trying to say that we got a lot of moisture in a very disorganized system moving into the Gulf sometime on the 20th. This is not in stone yet. But watching this forecast model, this storm does intensify as it hits the coast. And right now, 13 days away, your cone is directly at New Orleans. And this storm actually stays intact for a little while. Pretty impressive low pressure system moving onto the coast and creating a lot of havoc when it comes to moisture. Behind that storm is a very weird dip in the jet stream, and this usually indicates the possibility of some blocking near Greenland for this jet stream to dip the way it is dipping to the southwest. Very, very, very unusual pattern for this time of year. So lots to look at, guys. We'll be back later today at 1 p.m. for our live show. We usually go on live at 9 p.m. on Monday nights. Today, we're going to try something a little different, move the time up, and maybe we'll have more people from overseas who will be able to actually watch the broadcast. Usually we go on when it's like 2 a.m. for them over there. So hopefully this might be a better neutral time for everyone. Yes, I know, Bella. We'll have to wait till 1. Sorry about that. All right, guys, that's going to do it for me today. Thank you for joining us on the Grand Solar Minimum for this quick solar update and weather outlook. Again, I'll go over all this again in our full broadcast at 1 p.m. and give you guys a little update on Grand Solar Minimum news and the weather to come. All right, guys, take care. Have a good day.
Do you like this show? Give us a thumbs up. Want to support us more? Share to your favorite social media platform. Buy a t-shirt or become a Patreon. All links are in the description below.